Kristen, and sorry about the sunshine, but we are in the sunshine state of Florida, so I can't really avoid it. Last night's stay in a subpar facility, it made us think that maybe it would be fun to do a video about all the things that have gone wrong on our Disney trips. And I think we're going to work, starting with this trip, in reverse. This trip is by no means over, so there could be tons of things that go wrong that we have not had happen yet, but we're going to be optimistic and hope that the things that have gone wrong have already happened. So this trip we were a little worried that between, is it Florida State? What's the one in Tallahassee? The football team in Tallahassee. They have a home game. They had a home game yesterday, so we didn't want to get stuck with no hotel rooms nearby, and with Hurricane Florence coming through and making people evacuate, we went ahead and booked our hotels ahead of time instead of coming up to them and seeing them and booking them. So we booked a Comfort Inn in Mariana. We've stayed in Mariana all 3 times that we've come through. It's a very good stopping place for us from where we live, and it was rough. Like I said, or you probably saw in a different video that there were bugs, there were, it was very hot and humid, and our room didn't cool down. The girls were, as we were trying to go to sleep, the girls were crying because they were too hot to go to bed, and they're not like that. They're not crybabies that would cry about things like that originally, so it must have been pretty bad. It was just, we would never stay there again. I'd rather sleep in the car. And the other thing that went wrong this trip, the big thing that went wrong this trip, is we forgot our magic bands back home in Texas. Very fortunate that my sister-in-law is flying in today, so she can bring them to us. But big deal. Ruined a good portion of our day yesterday, fretting over that. And then, so that's the 2 things that have gone wrong this trip. But since we're seasoned Disney goers, we know that these are things that we will get over and probably not even remember except for to laugh about later. Now, the last trip was in January of 2016. We flew to Disney, and that trip was a great trip, but there was a lot of things that happened. So we get there, day 1, we go to the parks like at 3 o'clock. And by the time we're leaving parks on day 1, my mom is not feeling well. We get back to the hotel, and she is full on sick. And we go back to the parks that night for a dinner reservation. She has to stay at the hotel. She's too sick to come and misses the dinner reservation. Was she good the next day? I think she was good the next day from her sickness, and we went to the parks. Well, around 1 o'clock. Start where? So the next day, we woke up to go to the parks. It was Monday. She was good. She wasn't feeling back to 100% by any means, but she was good to come to the parks. So she went. We went about our day. We were at Hollywood Studios. Around 1 o'clock, I started getting a tickle in my throat, and I stopped at one of the gift shops and bought some Tylenol, because we didn't have any, hoping that would help. Fast forward to 6 o'clock, we're walking towards Fantasmic, and we get to the main walkway, and I say, y'all go on to Fantasmic, I'm going to first aid. I have a very high fever at this point, and I'm very sick. So at first aid, they tell me to go back to my hotel to catch the free shuttle to the emergency care, urgent care, and do that. So they decided not to go to Fantasmic, take me back to the hotel. My mom and dad took the kids to their bedroom, and Clayton took me to urgent care on the shuttle. We were there. They didn't even see me till that was at like 6:30. till after midnight. And it was awful. I was very sick. I had strep throat. And they gave me a shot and some, I think they gave me an antibiotic shot and steroid medicine. And I went back and slept it off, woke up, I think the next morning or maybe the middle of the next day. Either way, we didn't miss a day. Went back on to schedule. That night, no, Tuesday was good for everybody. Wednesday, Clayton comes down with the same stomach bug my mom had. He is up all night, throwing up, and all Wednesday morning, we decided to stay home from the parks Wednesday morning, and me and my dad, maybe my mom, we take the kids swimming. And by Wednesday evening, Clayton's on the mend. He's taking one for the team, and he takes us to the parks. Actually, he got sick Tuesday at the parks, remember? Because he was trying his best not to let anybody know he didn't feel good. He would be like, I gotta run to the restroom. And so he'd run to the restroom, and then he'd come right back and go on. But by the end of that, by Tuesday night, late in the middle of the night, he was rough. So Wednesday, we did end up going to the parks late Wednesday night, and had a good time. Late Wednesday night or early Thursday, my mom wakes up with strep throat. Me and her are very susceptible to strep throat, and we know what it is when we feel it coming on. And she woke up in the middle of the night with it and had to wait till 8 a.m. whenever they opened. And by the time 8 a.m. rolled around, she could barely breathe. Her throat had swollen almost shut. So she goes to urgent care. They give her, the treatment for that. She's down all day Thursday. Finally, Friday, we're back on schedule. We go Friday, we go Saturday. We're flying home on Sunday. We luckily, because by that time, everybody had missed the table service meal. We had all, at different times, missed things. So we got to make up a table service meal at T-Rex at Disney Springs. Wonderful. We loved it. We wouldn't have tried that restaurant otherwise, and they luckily had availability for us, like on the middle of the day on a Sunday. So even though it was a rough trip, and we spent a lot of time and energy and money on getting better, we still look back on that fondly. So if you get sick at Disney, it is not the end of the world. They take really good care of you, and you can get just about anything you need fairly easily. The trip before that was in October of 2015. What went wrong that trip? And something else. Oh, that trip. So October of 2016. I can't do math. Okay, so the next trip was October of 2014. That was for Lila's 3rd birthday. So my mom and dad and my grandpa and Dottie and Sean went Friday morning. They left. Clayton and I still had to work, so they went on ahead and left. And they went to Duck Dynasty and drove slow and leisurely to Monroe, which is where we stopped again this time. But they drove there. Everything was great. Me and Clayton followed behind. We left after work that day and showed up about 10:30 that night. We get all settled in the room. We're happy. Everybody's happy. Everybody falls asleep around 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2. Lily sits straight up in bed and just like exorcist vomits everywhere. And she was sharing bed with sisters. We had to move kids. We had to clean kids. We had to clean Lily. Clayton had to strip the sheets at the bed, walk them down to the closed hotel office and ask for new sheets. It was a mess, and we were up all night with her throwing up. We get up the next morning on time to leave, and Lily continues to throw up every hour until about 3 p.m. So it lasted probably a little bit more than 12 hours. Around 3:30 or 4, we're driving our little minivan, and all of the dash lights, like the car care lights, oil change lights, all those lights, one by one, just start coming on. I mean, every one of them. Things that shouldn't happen at the same time. Just every light's coming on. We're freaking out. We had just gotten a new engine in May of the year before. So we are really stressed. plugs in the little reader thing, and it's not working. So we have to then go find another auto store in this tiny little town. Luckily they had one. We plug in, and she says it's reading everything. So what do you do? She's like, I don't know what to do about that. I'd go to the Dodge dealership if I were you. It was a Dodge Grand Caravan. She's like, the closest one is in Mobile, Alabama, which is about an hour and a half away, and they close in an hour and 35 minutes. So we throw the kids in the car. We tell my grandpa, and my mom and dad, see ya. We're heading to Mobile as fast as we can. Y'all catch up when you can. So we drive the most stressful hour and a half drive we've driven in our marriage, probably. And we get there 5 minutes before they close. We tell the guy what's going on. The guy was so nice, so helpful. Takes the car back there, puts us in like a waiting room where we watch A&M and Alabama play, and Alabama royally spank A&M like 56-0. He works for 2 hours after they close. Gets our car fixed for us. He tells us what had happened was when they put our new engine in, they took the bundle of cables that run from your engine to the computer and laid it over on top of the engine. I don't know where they laid it. Somewhere hot, and the cables were melting through. So as the cables were melting, the light was coming on telling us something was wrong. So he took the cables off, fixed them, wrapped them up, and like tied them to the steering wheel shaft. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it was enough. So he fixed it, and then, you know, we're going to Disney World, which isn't cheap, for a large family, which isn't cheap. So we're stressed about the money. We have a plan to how to pay for it, but we're stressed. And then he comes out and tells us that he's not going to charge us anything. And it was, I don't even know how to explain how wonderful that feeling was. He was very nice. We were very blessed to have such a man come into our life at that moment. Was that the only thing? I think that was it. The rest of that trip went smoothly. We lost my grandpa a couple times, but that's to be expected. And then our first trip was in July of 2012, and I don't really remember anything going wrong that trip. That trip in my memory is magical. Nothing went wrong. Nothing was a problem. We had an 8-month-old, Lila. We had Lily. It was her 3rd birthday. And I guess the hard part of that trip was I was newly pregnant, and we hadn't told anybody. So I was sick as a dog, trying to eat all this food from Disney World, and I couldn't. And in the middle of the night, which we shared a hotel room with my mom, because it was just the 4 of us and my mom. And I would send Clayton to the like food area in the middle of the night, and be like, I need fettuccine Alfredo, and he'd go get it for me because he was a new dad who listened to his pregnant wife. And I would eat like 4 bites. It was awful. Finally, on the last day of the trip, I think it was actually Lily's birthday, we were eating at Cinderella's royal table, and we announced to everybody that we were pregnant. That was like the exciting part. But so I guess that was the hardest part for me. I don't think it was hard for anybody else. Was it hard for you that I was sick and pregnant? So yeah, that was a magical trip. Only they could all be that easy. Anyway, the whole point of this is that things go wrong, and it's still okay. It's still fun. I would still go. We do bring things now. We try to remember things like medicine and extra keys and whatever else you remember. Maybe not magic bands. I don't know. Other than that, I hope you found this entertaining and funny, and we'll talk to y'all later.